3 alien boys carried bags for a rich human. The next day, their mother was shocked when the twin suns dipped low over the copper horizon of Meridia 5, bathing the town of Sindral Port in liquid gold. Markets wound down, stalls clattered shut, and the heavy aroma of roasted spice fruit clung to the dusty air. Amid the crowd, 3 young alien boys, siblings with silver-green skin and wide, curious eyes, watched as humans in fine robes and jewel-studded coats passed by, their laughter ringing against the sandstone walls. They were sons of Yara, a seamstress who worked late into the night to stitch clothes for miners and traders. Food was scarce at home, and every credit mattered. The eldest, Lyre, often tried to find odd jobs around the docks, while the younger 2, Rollin and Keo, followed close, wide-eyed and eager. That evening, as the stalls closed, a wealthy human merchant emerged from a caravan ship. He was dressed in ivory fabric, with rings glinting on every finger. His name was Barston Khan, known in town for his sharp tongue and deeper pockets. He snapped at his servants, tossing parcels into their arms until one crate slipped to the ground with a heavy thud. "Careless fools!" he barked, glaring at the trembling porters. "Do you know what this cargo costs?" The alien boys exchanged glances. Rollin whispered, "We could help him." Lyre hesitated. They knew humans like Ken didn't often treat their kind kindly. But hunger gnawed at his stomach, and his brothers' hopeful faces left little choice. "Excuse me, sir," Lyre said cautiously, stepping forward. "We can carry those bags. For a fair price." Un's eyes narrowed. He looked them over as if they were insects. Then, with a dismissive wave, he said, "Fine. If you're so eager, take them. But don't scratch anything." The crates were heavy, but the boys bore them with quiet determination. Rollin staggered once, nearly dropping a box of crystal vials, but Keo darted forward to steady him. Together, they hauled every sack, bundle, and container up the narrow ramp into the merchant's quarters. When the last crate was set down, the boys stood, sweating and panting, waiting for their pay. Un reached into his coat and tossed 3 small copper credits at their feet. "There. Don't spend it all on sweets." His laughter echoed as he turned away. The boys' faces fell. It was barely enough to buy a single loaf of bread. But Lyre clenched his jaw, pocketed the coins, and motioned to his brothers. "Come on. Let's go home." That night, their mother Yara listened as the boys told her what had happened. She smoothed Rollin's hair, kissed Keo's forehead, and shook her head. "You should not waste your strength on men like him. They take much and give little. Remember that, my sons." Still, she cooked what little they had, and they went to sleep on empty bellies, dreaming of better days. The next morning, the family awoke to a pounding at the door. Yara opened it cautiously, only to find uniformed human guards outside. Behind them stood Barston Khan himself, looking irritated yet oddly formal. "Where are the boys?" he demanded. Fear flickered across Yara's face. "What do you want with my children?" Khan cleared his throat, suddenly uncomfortable under her fierce gaze. "Last night, while unloading my cargo, one of my trusted servants broke a container of lunar silk threads, worth thousands of credits. But your boys carried every piece of my shipment without a scratch. Not a single thread misplaced." He paused, shifting his weight. "I misjudged them. And you?" The boys peeked from behind their mother, wide-eyed. Un let out a reluctant sigh. "I came to make it right." He motioned to the guards, who brought forward 3 heavy satchels of provisions: bread, fruit, rice, and cured meats, enough to last a month. Another guard carried a purse of silver credits. Yara's hands trembled as she accepted the gifts. Why? She whispered. Kun looked away, his pride fighting his conscience. Because even a rich man must recognize honesty and hard work when he sees it. Your sons reminded me of what it was like when I had nothing. He bent slightly, awkwardly, to meet the boy's eyes. I was cruel yesterday. That was wrong. If you wish, I can give you work at the docks. Proper wages this time. Liar stepped forward, voice steady. We'll help. But only if you treat us with respect. For a moment, silence stretched in the small room. Then Kun gave a single, firm nod. Agreed. That evening, as the sun set again, Yara watched her sons walk down the street with new pride in their steps. They carried no crates, no heavy burdens, only the promise of fair work and a brighter tomorrow. Her heart swelled with something she hadn't felt in years, hope. And as she closed the door, Yara whispered a quiet prayer to the stars. That kindness, even when met with cruelty, would always find its way back. That evening, the suns of Meridia 5 sank into the horizon, staining the sky with violet and bronze. Yara stood by the doorway of their humble home, watching her 3 boys walk down the street with their heads held higher than ever before. No longer did they move like children begging for scraps. They walked with the confidence of those who had proven their worth. The satchels of food stacked on the table behind her were more than just provisions. They were a symbol that her son's integrity had pierced even the armor of a man like Barstenkan. For the first time in months, she could feed her family without fear of running out by dawn. She thought back to the way Liar had stood tall, refusing to be treated like a servant without dignity, and how Rollin and Keo had carried those burdens together without complaint. Pride filled her chest so strongly it ached. Barsten's offer of steady work at the docks was no small thing. It promised not just food, but stability, and the chance for her children to learn skills that might one day take them far beyond Sindral Port. Still, Yara knew it wasn't the silver credits or the crates of rice that mattered most. It was the lesson, hard-earned and unforgettable, that even the smallest acts of honesty and strength could shake the pride of the powerful. As the stars began to bloom above the copper sky, Yara closed her eyes and whispered a prayer to the heavens. May my sons always walk with the same courage they showed today. And in the quiet hum of the night, for the first time in years, she allowed herself to believe in a brighter tomorrow.